Okay, there should have been way more communication. There should have been how the process works and that sort of thing. So that's why I decided to get in and make sure ever since to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. So that's why I like teaching classes because it helps you guys understand. Therefore, you can relay that information on to other people, you know. So I have served on the MAR board. I've been on the tech committee there. I actually was on the ALC tech before. Um, let's see. I am the broker of our property management here at Pinnacle, and I have been the president of the Women's Council of Realtors, the president of Millbrook Chamber, and the secretary of the state of Women's Council of Realtors. So I've served on a lot of different committees and boards. So I've gotten to know a lot of people that way and got to see how things actually work behind the scenes and that sort of thing. For the most part, I just enjoy working with my team. If I have time, I try to go kayaking. Right now it's too cold to do that, but that's definitely the one thing that I really enjoy. So I want you guys to know that this is a very informal class. If you have questions, if I go too fast, anything, stop me at any point in time and ask your questions. I don't believe that there's anything like a stupid question. So feel free to ask. If you're thinking it, someone else is already thinking it. So just speak up. Today we're going to get to know your value proposition. So if you've not heard those words before, it basically just means how can you relate to the public in a very short sentence how you can help them best. What sets you apart, why you're unique, who you are, all in one sentence. That way you can start your branding. So it lets them know that up front, whether that's on your business card. It honestly should be everywhere. So your business card, your website, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Zillow, everything should always match up and should always relay your value proposition, because people will find you in so many different ways and you always want them to have that information. Plus, if they end up going to multiple different platforms, they're always going to have that in their face. And we always have to have top of mind presence. So I'm going to go to share my screen. I've got that open, present. Let's try that again. Go ahead. All right. Make this big. Share screen. All right. Can everyone see where it says Ignite skills to spark a greater career?
I do. Yes.
Yay. Good. Okay. So you have two parts of your business every single day. It needs to be lead generating for buyers and sellers. That is your number one thing that you need to do every single day, whether that's mail outs, whether that's social media, whether that's videos, meeting people in person, handing your business cards out, postcards. I mean, there's endless amounts of things that you can do. Open houses, and so forth. Make seller listing presentations and get listings. So what I've always been told is if you do not have a listing presentation scheduled, you can always sit and practice with somebody else. That way you'll get used to stumbling over your words and finding the right words, and then where it becomes second nature. That way when you're in Walmart and someone asks you a question, you can immediately just pop off the answer without stumbling over your words or trying to find the right words. And buyer consultations are the exact same thing as well. Now, we have buyer and seller consultations that are already in command that you can use, but you can also use them through wherever else or make your own. What I suggest strongly is not just having them ready in your Google Drive at all times, but also having at least one printed at all times, because who knows if, someone's going to call you and say, hey, I can only meet today. You will already have that printed, and Lord knows life happens. Your printer's going to jam, your printer's not going to work, or you can't find one, or you're riding in the car. So just go ahead and have them ready, whether that's riding around in your car with you or somewhere that you can grab real fast at your house or at the office. So I remember whenever I went through one of my first KW classes, they strongly suggested going and previewing 10 houses a week. I think that's really important because it's now that I've been in real estate for 13, my gosh, that's crazy, 13 and a half years. I've re-seen so many houses. I can literally tell people, oh my gosh, yes, I've been in this house and it was a dump before. It needed a new roof, it needed paint, it needed carpet and all that sort of thing. And now here it is 5 years later, it's back on the market and it looks wonderful. So plus that gives you an idea of comps and what is realistic and what is not. It makes you the area expert as well. So when someone asks you about a specific neighborhood, you know exactly what they're talking about. So it's easiest if you filter out the listings that are vacant first and go see those before trying to ever schedule to go see the ones that are occupied and making the people leave and all that sort of thing. So if you did not know that you can do that in MLS, you can. It's one of the add-ons for showings, and you can search for just vacant properties. Okay, so that was grow your business. Now you need to run your business every single day. So you absolutely need to market your seller listings everywhere. So all the social medias, flyers, postcards, just anything and everything you can do, open houses, just all kinds of stuff to market your seller listings. Show buyer houses, negotiate contracts. Now, I personally don't like that. I want it to say negotiate offers because it's not a contract until you're done negotiating. So sometimes you'll negotiate offers and it'll never turn into a contract. Transaction management to closing. Okay, so I hope you guys took my advice and used that checklist that I gave you guys a while back so that you can keep up with every single thing that will help you have a smooth closing. And that way you can be doing those on a daily basis and making sure that everything actually happens. So vendor management, I personally like whenever you can have a time that you set to meet with your favorite roofer, your favorite contractor, your favorite home inspector, lender, whatever. Do a video with them. One, that makes you an area expert. Two, you get to know more information than you would have by just calling them and having them do a specific buyer's needs. So whenever someone gives you a problem that they're having, you already have a solution for it, hopefully. You should always have goals to set. You should have personal goals and you should have business goals. And I've always been told you need to set your goals high enough that they scare you, because if you set them where you're comfortable, then you're going to blow those out of the water, or you're going to just meet those goals and then stop there when you are so much more capable of more.
That is confirmation of what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday we discussed goals, and that was one of the main things that we kept saying. It's not limiting ourselves, getting rid of that, that ceiling.
Yes.
Make our box bigger, go outside of our box.
And what I love about Keller Williams is I've reached a ceiling many, many times, and I might find a little way to get through, but ultimately I'm only me and I need help figuring out how to get past that ceiling. And that's why I love, hello, Gerald. But that's why I love Keller Williams, because there's so many other agents around the whole United States that can also help you with those things. And there's endless amounts of training. Anyways, you guys know from Susan that we have got to make sure that all of our compliance documents are in order. So that's why I told y'all the other day, make sure they're in your Google Drive so that you can upload them at any point in time, or send them to whoever. That also eliminates your risk management. You definitely want to try to attend as much training as possible. That does not mean just Keller Williams. MAR offers training, the National Association, the AAR, there is endless amounts of training out there. There's even plenty of YouTube channels that you can go and watch, because the more you know, the more you can relay your information to buyers and sellers and investors and whoever. Plus, it'll make a transaction go much smoother. And manage your money. So the biggest problem that realtors are known for are they do not run their business like a business. They run their business like it's a hobby, like it's something that they do on the side. If you are managing your money like a business, then that means you are keeping track of money coming in, money coming out, what is working, what is not, and making sure that you can pay your bills, but you are still building up to be able to market yourself and just do all the different things that a business owner would do. And there's plenty of spreadsheets out there that Katie has shared with us, and I'm sure she can get with you guys if you need one of those again. So, who would like to share what they are grateful for so far in this learning journey?
Well,
I'm
I'll
just
go
grateful.
first.
Oh, you can go, Miss Vicky.
Okay. I just more than anything, I'm grateful for the training we have, because like I always say, every time I get on just to hear somebody else teach, I gather something different. I learn something different. So I'm always grateful for knowledge.
I
Mhm.
agree. And even if you're not learning something new, it's sometimes something you forget, and then you're like, oh, I need to be doing that.
Right, you're reminded.
Yes, it's just one of those things where even like you said, I'm helping teach this session, and I still, even though it's like my fourth time taking it, I'm learning something different every time. I'm gaining knowledge every time, because you can only take it step by step. So the first time, I was taking notes, I was learning. The second time, okay, started implementing some things, but now the fourth time it's like, okay, I think I got it now. I can really dig deeper and go further into it. So it's just you learn. It's a continuous learning journey.
Yes.
Even though it's the same thing, and I just love that.
Would anyone like to go ahead?
I'm grateful for the learning opportunity and the people that I've been able to meet on this journey to learning. And you've been a lifesaver. I've already shared my app with a lot of people.
Good.
And just being, and I know it's so much more I have to learn. This is my first time participating in Ignite, but I know I'll do it a couple of more times until I feel comfortable. And just because it's just been so helpful for me. And I've been able to, Vicki, I have 2 referrals. I'm so excited to turn that information in to the other agents and also to our team leader. But it's just been so much that I've gained from just talking to everybody and just learning.
That's awesome. Does anyone see any opportunities for yourself by going to these classes?
Most definitely. What I've learned is showing up shows that you're ready. These, like I said, number 8 under Run Your Business, you attend your training and you get your coaching. Showing up shows a lot about who you are and the work you're willing to put in. I don't think if I was showing up to things, I wouldn't be able to be our social equality ambassador. I wouldn't be able to even start teaching these classes.
Right.
I would never have thought last year of April when I first started these Ignite classes that this would be my second time teaching it. Like, that's crazy. I haven't even been in real estate a year yet.
That's awesome.
So showing up matters.
So many people get out of the business after, a lot of them can make it to a year, and then a lot of people get out after that first year. So for you to be doing this well already shows your drive and your motivation.
Yeah, I added up my numbers of what I did last year. I did over $500,000 in sales. So I was proud of that. Very proud.
Awesome. Yeah. And no one can determine what your success is. Only you can determine that. So I really have always hated when other brokerages will tell you, you have to make a minimum of X, because you might be good with just being able to pay your MAR dues and super dues and all that good stuff. But if your goal is to be much higher, fine. We all have our own skills, our own level of success that we're shooting for. So the last question was, what challenges are you encountering that we may work out together?
My challenge is getting out of my own way. I'm
Yes.
accustomed to, I guess being in education, you're so accustomed to finding the answer. Just go find it. Just go find it. But, you know, sometimes you just not connecting all the dots, but having people that you can go to and say, hey, well, this is what I've done. I've done A, B, C, D, but I'm not really seeing where it's connecting.
Mhm.
And that's where the people have in the networking that I've done has been able to bridge those gaps. So sometimes I get in my own way because I'll say, well, I don't want to bother anybody. But then I have to just say, forget that. You've done your part, ask. And so
Exactly.
Gerald's been helpful with that. Shakira, Vicky, everybody's been helpful in that part.
So the book that Katie gave us, the ALC recently to read, is by Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And if you haven't read it, I really suggest it. But something that I have really learned in the past few years is that everyone has their own perspective. So you have a perspective that you can't really see past until, like you said, you get past your own perspective and start asking other people about theirs, and try to also go outside of just your friends, your sphere, because that will really help you open up and understand other people's perspective as well. You're always going to have your perspective in the back of your mind, but it'll help you be more understanding and be able to help more people instead of just a select amount of people. So the more you know, the more you can grow and understand other people. So, all right. So today we are going to define your value. We're going to, let's see if I have another slide for this. Yes. Okay. So we're going to define your value. There are 3 aspects of service: know your value and deliver your value, because knowing it is not the same thing as speaking it. Just because I can read Spanish doesn't mean I can necessarily speak it. Let's see. Then we're going to go over again why it's important to know these things so that you can build your database, script practice, lead generate, and blah, blah, blah. So, all right, so let's see if I have this on the next graph. Yes, your value. It is a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you. It should clearly convey all the things you do to earn the fee you charge. Now, I know someone is thinking, well, we don't charge the buyer anything. Well, the seller pays you, and you're technically the buyer exclusive representation agreement actually says that they owe you that 3%, but the seller is allowed to give a contribution to pay for that. So technically the buyer's paying you, the seller's just paying for it up front, just like the closing costs and prepaids. The buyer owes that, but the seller's paying for that. So someone is paying you at the end of the day, and you need to be able to clearly define why you're unique, what you're offering to them. Your value proposition is a covenant between you and that customer. Now, don't forget, customers are not clients. They can become clients, but customers is anyone and everyone that is out there, the public. And ultimately, the real estate commission has a duty to the public, not to you. So always make sure that you remember that you have to provide your value proposition to everyone and make sure that everyone is treated the same and knows your value proposition. Don't give it to one person and not give it to the other. I mean, it goes down as far as when someone comes into our office, we make sure we ask every single person, do you want a coffee or a water? Because if someone knew that their friend got offered a coffee and water and they didn't get offered, then they're all hurt and it can become a problem. So try to make sure everyone knows your value proposition for that reason and for the fact that it just gets your name out there even more. We already did that. Okay. All right. Let's say, so when Gary Keller was researching the millionaire real estate agent, he noted that every top producing agent he spoke with had a deep and almost inherent sense of service. You cannot grow a real estate business if you do not prioritize your client's experience above all else. A stellar experience is how you earn your commission to get referrals. So we've identified 3 aspects of service. Know the underlying purpose of real estate, a compelling value proposition, and a fiduciary duty. Together, these aspects guarantee that your clients will have the best possible real estate experience. So I want to go back and talk about what Gary Keller says. I think that is, I'm pretty sure that is what sets Keller Williams agents apart, is they have a deep and almost inherent sense of service to their clients. They have a need to help and communicate and do things to the best of their abilities, not just a hobby, not just something that they're flying by the seat of their pants. And so that is what can help you work towards and become a millionaire real estate agent. So, what is the underlying purpose of real estate? And it is different for buyers and sellers. Does anyone know? What is the underlying purpose of real estate? So let's start with buyers. For buyers, it's about finding the right home at the best price in the right time with the least amount of problems. That one's key. You can find them a house fast and at a right price, but with the least amount of problems means your education and your skills. Does anyone have any idea what it might be for the sellers?
To sell their home at the highest price possible with the least amount of problems.
Yes, you touched on 2 of them. So it's about netting them the most amount of money.
Yes.
So you can say their house is worth $300,000, but if they owe $280,000, well, that's not going to net them hardly anything by the time they pay commission, taxes, home warranty, closing costs, all that sort of thing. So it's about how much is going to net them. And a lot of times you can ask whenever you first get to the appointment, how do you like things explained? Straight to the point, lots of details, or somewhere in between. So if they're a straight to the point type person, most likely they're asking, what is my bottom line going to be if I sell my house with you? So anyways, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. Now, in the shortest amount of time, that's what they're thinking, but they're not thinking about where are they going when you show them, sell their house quickly. So you need to flat out make sure you ask a seller when you're interviewing with them, if I get your house sold in a week, what's your plans? It'll take about 30 days to close on this house. Do you have somewhere to go? What are you planning on doing? So what happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate? Well, it's significant that one phrase is shared with buyers and sellers: with the least amount of problems. We talked about that. The least amount of problems. Everyone's gonna remember how you made them feel. So you might have fun, you might, cut up, you might treat them just like a business professional. But if you have drama in that transaction, whether it's with the other agent or with the seller, they're going to remember that. Now, what they're going to remember is, yes, you had drama, but you went out of your way to make sure that things were taken care of. Sometimes you just can't avoid that drama. Maybe you don't have to tell them about it, but sometimes it's necessary for them to know the struggle that you're going through so that they know that you're working hard for them. That does not mean bash the other realtor. As a realtor, what are some problems you have anticipated for your clients, and what have you done to avoid them? I actually want answers on this one.
Well, just like we just discussed about I had a listing presentation last night, for example, and I think she thought she was ready to put it on the market now, but she doesn't quite have a plan of where she's going afterwards. And like I explained, because the home is immaculate, it's only a 2-year-old house. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the house. She's only moving because her spouse passed, but she's going to Birmingham.
Okay.
So she's not as ready as she thought. And I was telling her, your home is going to sell. Like, I don't anticipate that home being on the market 2 weeks. So it's that fabulous. And I had, we discussed that, and she was like, oh, I didn't think about that. Like, she didn't think where she's going to go if it sells. But I gave her options. These are things of course, we'll put it under contingency upon you sell, purchase a new home. But I wanted her to start that process first. I wanted her to, I just gave her extra information that she didn't realize she needed.
Absolutely.
Because like I told her, I said, yes, a lot of realtors would have been like, okay, yeah, let's just put it on the market, and not thought about where you're going to go later on.
Exactly. And that's what will set you apart, is when you're thinking ahead and making them think through those things.
Yes. So today I actually talked to her this morning. She's calling her lender. She's getting things approved on the end on the Birmingham side. And she's already had people for that. So it was just, I think she really appreciated, and she said she did, of me thinking about her and her needs after the fact, instead of just trying to get the home sold.
Absolutely. And that's what you said about her getting pre-approved. That's really important, because a lot of sellers know that they can sell their house, but they don't think about the fact that they want to buy a house afterwards, and that while they were in this house, they did a lot of changes. They changed jobs, they lost their job, they bought a car, they sold something, they're more in debt, they started college. There's too much that can happen while you're still in a house. So always advise them to go ahead and talk to a mortgage lender.
Like, she literally just refinanced a month before her husband passed.
Oh,
so yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, great, but let's get with your lender, discuss those things first.
Absolutely. Has it been 6 months?
No.
Then she can't. I think majority of refinance documents say that you have to wait 6 months.
Yeah. So I think it was just September, October. So it's close. It's coming close. But it's now, like you said, those are things that she needed to hear and to discuss with her lender.
Absolutely. So, value proposition. Let's define that. Your value proposition distills your service offerings into a set of benefits for your client. It states what you do for the client to earn your commission, and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps you accountable. It also holds you accountable to higher standards. So, as we reflect on this definition, what do you see as the value of your value proposition? Now, that can be something you just think about. You don't have to necessarily answer right now. Why is it important enough to be included in our 3 aspects of service? So, again, what do you see as the value of your value proposition, and why is it important to be included in our 3 aspects of service. We usually have a loose understanding of how we provide our clients with value. It's easy to forget that we might understand very little of that value. So your value proposition is what you bring to the experience. Your value proposition statement phrases your skills, your expertise, and insights in language that makes them relevant to your clients. So you know what you do on a daily basis and what it takes to close a deal and how to work out situations. You need to be able to convey that easily and straight to the point so that people understand that. People have a very short time span that they're willing to hear something, listen to something, especially if they know you're a salesperson. So you need to be able to convey that really quickly. So, for example, let's say you're fluent in English and Spanish. You may be tempted to say something, you may be tempted to say simply, I'm bilingual. That's true, but does it convey your value to your client? No, not really. Instead, you could say, I have access to a large pool of potential buyers for your home who are often overlooked by other agents. So instead of saying I'm a buyer's agent, you need to specify what that means. Just like the biggest one that I've heard right now is we're in a seller's market and there's low inventory. We know what that means. A lot of people don't. You need to be able to say, houses are flying off the market. You put a house on the market, it flies off. Therefore, there are way more buyers out there buying a house than there are houses being put on the market. So there's about 3 buyers for every 1 house. So you need to be able to convey that. So instead of saying I'm bilingual, you need to say, did you know that I can speak Spanish and English? So if you are looking to buy or sell a house and you know someone that speaks Spanish, I can help them. I mean, just that sort of thing. So how does changing the phrasing change your client's perception? In a moment, you're going to craft your own value proposition statement. Before we do that, I want to talk about the final aspect of service.
But Sarah, before we move forward, you was asking how does you changing your language help your client or your customer?
Yeah.
It meets them where they are. Everybody is not on the same, as far as I would say literacy, they might not be where the next person are. So it kind of meets them where they are. It breaks it down to them.
Yep. Agreed. And it's funny because I've seen how even our culture has changed in the past 13 years I've been in real estate. People wanted a way more business professional when I got into real estate. And not that has changed, but they want someone to be able to explain things in layman's term and know that they can trust you. And if you can explain things in simplified terms to them, they automatically trust you a lot easier than if you're trying to push big or large, legal jargon on them. They immediately shut down. So yes, being able to convey things in the simplest terms. I think of oh my goodness, I can say is the guy that does the Star talk show. Oh my goodness, I forgot his name. Anyways, top people say that just because you know everything, you should be able to convey it in the simplest terms that you're being able to explain it to a kindergartner where they understand. So, like I said, the third and final aspect of service is fiduciary. What is a fiduciary and how is it different than a functionary? What's the differences between them? Anyone got any ideas? Okay, so let's go back to middle school English. fiduciary is both an adjective and a noun. As an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially relationships. You have a fiduciary duty to your clients to protect their best interest during what likely is the most largest and frightening transaction of their life. As a noun, fiduciary refers to the person who has a fiduciary obligation. You are your client's fiduciary. Now, for the most part, you never hear anyone say those words except for in real estate, but you need to know the differences and have that in the back of your mind when you're helping people. You can also translate that to when you're talking to someone about real estate, so they're still a customer. You need to be able to explain to them the difference between a customer and a client and what fiduciary duties are. So being a fiduciary is a big deal. It's an honor. It's more important than ever in today's market to wear the badge of honor proudly. Helping your clients understand your fiduciary role is a big part of your value proposition. So, what are some ways that you serve your clients' fiduciary during a real estate transaction? Anybody?
Being fiduciary just means, you're making sure you're putting your client's needs above all else.
Yep.
Just making sure you're honest, straightforward, transparent about everything and putting their needs above any and everything else.
To an extent, they only know what they know and they're leaning on you. So your fiduciary duty is to them as well as the law and making sure they understand
Exactly.
the whole aspect, the whole big picture.
Yes.
Well, in times that I've seen that I've had to make sure I'm giving my fiduciary duty is when someone called me from a sign and I'm representing the seller and they want me to represent them as the buyer's agent. So you have to be very mindful of that you don't cross any boundaries for the buyer and the seller.
And I think that's something that you need to convey to each party when
Right.
you first meet them, not just,
Right.
hey, I'm now in this situation. So, Mr. Seller, while we're talking, I want you to understand that I have your best interest at heart. I'm going to help you negotiate, keep everything confidential, blah, blah, blah. But if I get a buyer that wants your house, I want you to know that I'm not going to share how much you owe on the house, why you're selling, vice versa. I'm not going to tell you what the buyer's approved up to and why they're buying. I want you to know that there's going to be complete neutrality and that there is going to be trust along the way.
And even when you get going over the listing paperwork with the limited consensual dual, you can explain that to them then, but you have to remember that's just, okay, they hear you then.
Mhm.
When that situation arrives, you have to be sure that you say, you remember the form that I explained to you. If somebody is in the neighborhood and they call me off the sign and they're not working with an agent and they want me to represent them, this is what I was talking about. So you take them back. This person is wanting me to represent them as the buyer's agent as well, even though I've said to them, I'm working for the seller.
Yep.
You have to remind them, this is what I was talking about.
And sometimes it gets into a sticky situation knowing these things. I've had in the past where I'll have a seller or a homeowner that wants me to do things that I know are illegal or borderline illegal just because that's their request and they think that we should be able to do whatever it takes to get their house sold or rented or whatever. No, that's not necessarily the case. The law says this, and a lot of people will respect you for bringing that up.
They really will.
So sometimes you have to cut your losses and say, well, if we can't work together, I'm sorry, I no longer feel comfortable working with you. But most of the time, if you explain those things, that will change their perspective, and you can then work together to make it all the way to a closing or whatever.
Yeah, because we have to also remember too, we don't know. People will test your boundaries. They'll see if you mean what you say and say what
Yep.
you mean.
Yep. You're very right. Okay, so we're going to look at some data around what clients want. We're going to get a big picture look at our current real estate market, and we'll discuss some way that technology can boost your value proposition. So before we do that, let's go to number one. Number one is your, I don't know why it did that. Okay, so number one is your purpose. You might want a piece of paper, or if you're driving, just listen and try to write it down later. So there's three things. One, purpose. Know the underlying purpose of Did I miss something? Proposition, we did that. Okay. So this has obviously been updated. We should have the 2020 ones out by now. So this is what buyers want when I said that we're going to look at some information. So the graph covers the top 3 responses and categories everything else as other. You can see the complete list in your, well, there is a student handout and I can email it to you guys if you want me to. So why are we talking about this in our value proposition today? Well, these are results from buyers being asked to state the one thing that is most important to them. Most buyers need help with paperwork or learning about their neighborhood, but when forced to give just one answer, this is what they said. So, you guys need to note any skills or services that you offer that align with what the buyers want. So you can convey to them, and they're going to immediately pick up on, hey, you know what? That's what I was thinking too. And oh, that's the right person for me. Everyone can help a first-time home buyer. Everyone can help a seller. Everyone can help an investor. But if you specify something in your value proposition, they think you're the expert at it. And ultimately you either are or going to be.
Sarah, it's good that you said that because I'm working with a client, not customer, who is who has small children. And so what we have been doing, well, what I suggested to him was that I would send him just snapshots of the school report cards for the schools that were zoned for the neighborhoods that he was looking in.
Okay.
And, you know, because I'm in education, it was like, you know, I'm like, oh, that can be my area, you know, to be able to talk to clients about, you know, what the schools are like in whatever subdivision that they're looking for.
Be very careful doing that you are not giving your opinion. Make sure you're giving it to them from a third party website or something of that nature, because you
Yes, ma'am. It's coming from, I just sent him I just formulated all of the information that came from the state's website. So it's all directly from the state's website.
Perfect. Okay. When asked the most important factor in real estate, when asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these were the top 5 answers that buyers gave. If there's an attribute you have that you now know from the data, is something that buyers value, what would be a good thing to, and wouldn't it be a good thing to include in your value proposition? So if you are really, you feel very strongly about being honest and trustworthy, put that in there. Or, you know, I have a lot of friends and family that live in the Del Rey area, therefore I specialize in it, or, you know, something of that nature. Okay, so select one of the factors buyers value. Page 7. Okay, so y'all don't see these, but you will once I can share the things with you. But 52% of buyers wanted help finding the right home to purchase. 14% wanted help negotiating the terms of their sale. 11% help with negotiations for the price. 6% was determine what comparable homes are selling for. 6% was help with paperwork. 4% was help determining how much the home buyer can afford. 2% help find and arrange financing. 1% help teach buyer more about the neighborhood or the area. Less than 1% was help finding renters of buyer's property, and 2% was other. So majority of people in that big black space, which was 52%, wanted help finding the right home to purchase. That's a no-brainer. Every buyer wants the right home to purchase, but ultimately all these things add up to a full circle, and that's what makes a full transaction, not just the 52%. However, what buyers value, 19%, which is the highest amount, is agent is honest and trustworthy, and agent's experience is 16%. The agent's reputation is 16%. I want to stick on that one for a second. How are they going to know your reputation? Anyone got any ideas?
Word of mouth, your previous work.
Yes, but that still takes a while before you get there.
Yeah.
So the way you can do it easily is always ask for a review on Facebook, Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, whatever. Always ask for a review. So that's actually how I end up getting a lot of clients, because they're like, oh, I was on Zillow and I saw that you had a 5-star review, and you know, so go from there. So yes, word of mouth is wonderful, but it's still more rare than people on the internet. 14% is agent is friend or family member. 8% was agent's knowledge of the neighborhood. 8% was agent has caring personality and a good listener. Oh, I wish I would have known that when I got in real estate. I was a caring personality and a good listener when I first got in real estate, but ultimately it boiled down to honesty and trust and experience. To me, this one is crucial, and I think this also helps set apart KW agents. Agent is timely with responses. Your biggest thing is answering your phone, whether that's a call, text, whatever. If you answered your phone, you automatically almost always got a client, because so many people don't answer the phone. I get that almost every day. I've called so many people and no one answered the phone. You're the first one to answer the phone, and you have an automatic client.
I've heard that too, and it just baffled me. It
Agreed.
baffles me that people don't, and even if I know if I have someone call and I know I'm busy, I shoot them a quick text. Hey,
Absolutely.
I'm busy at the moment. I'll be sure to call you back, just so that they know I'm not ignoring them.
Yes, exactly. And same with realtors. I mean, whenever a realtor calls you or texts you, do the same thing. Look, I'll get back with you in just a minute, or let me find out, or whatever you're doing, but don't just, the longer you wait, the less respect you get, or they're going to go somewhere else, honestly. Agent seems 100% accessible because of use of technology like a tablet or a smartphone. That's 5%. So a lot of people love that we have an app or a website, yes, but ultimately the biggest thing is honesty and trust. So, oh, here it is. What sellers want. The biggest thing, there's actually two. Help seller market the home to potential buyers and help price the home competitively. Now, sometimes you have to be very specific with them and let them know that my job as a seller's agent is to let everyone know about your home through my advertising, but calling or texting other realtors and letting them know about it. My job is not necessarily to bring the buyer myself. Most of the time it's brought by another agent, just explaining. So market the house, price the home. Those are the top reasons. The next one is going to be help the sale of the home with a specific time frame. Help find a buyer for the home, help the seller find ways to fix up the home to sell it. Honestly, I think that's higher than 14% because when you first meet with them, that's a lot of they're worried about the net and then getting their home ready. So it's a whole big picture thing. Help with negotiations, help with paperwork, inspections, help sellers see homes available for purchase, help create and post videos to provide tour of home. But what they value is the reputation of the agent. That is 31%. Agent is honest and trustworthy, drops down to 19%. Agent is a friend or family member is 15%. Agent's knowledge of the neighborhood. Agent has a caring personality and is a good listener. That's only 4%. Agent's commission, that's only 4%. So if you have someone that actually brings up, will you reduce your commission? I appreciate you saying that and I appreciate you asking. However, I want to ask you, if I reduce my commission, what services are you wanting me to also discount or take off? Because that full 3% that my brokerage makes is not what I make, and I still have to pay for the marketing and the taxes and for everything that I do to get your house sold. And so do you want me to take off something so that we can reduce the commission? 99% of the time they're going to say no.
Had that conversation last night too, because she didn't ask me to reduce it, but she insinuated that another realtor only charged, their 5% as to our 6%. Right. And I just let her know, and I just asked her the question, are they providing you the same things that I've shown you and told you, and I'm guaranteeing you that I will provide? Yes. And she just kind of looked and was like, and she kind of smiled, which indicated no, they're not.
Only 4% of sellers cared which company you worked for. 3% of agents seem, okay, sorry, I said that wrong. Agent seems 100% accessible because of use of technology or smartphone. That's only 3% of people care about that. And only 1% cared about the designations that you hold. Ultimately, it boils down to your reputation and your honesty and trustworthiness. So, go back a page. When working with buyers, what skills do you have or services do you offer that align with what buyers want? No, we need to go back. What skills do you have or services do you offer that align with what buyers want? What characteristics or habits do you have that align with buyers' value? And we'll skip ahead to sellers. Why do you keep doing this? Okay, we're going backwards. in the world? Okay. Let's go back to sellers. Okay. There. Okay. What sellers want? What skills do you have or services do you offer that align with what sellers want? What characteristics or habits do you have that align with what sellers value? This will help you make your value proposition. So what buyer and seller ahas do y'all have? Anything?
For me, it's and we've said this in other sessions. I don't know if it was yesterday or Monday, but it seemed like it's all about relationships. You really won't know what your clients need unless you. Well, I mean, we know just from the surveys what they need, but I mean, building that relationship with them to really get to know your customer / client, you know, it depends on where you are in that relationship, to be able to give them everything that they need.
And you know, oh man, I can't think of the statistic right now, but majority of people say, oh yeah, I would refer my agent out or use my agent again if I were to buy or sell. Do you know that majority don't actually use their agent again because they forget their name, they forget their phone number, they forget you're not top of mind. So even after closing, you need to still provide them that level of service. Check in on them. How are they doing? Are they having issues? Do they know how to use their home warranty? Have they given their closing statement to their accountant? Happy anniversary, happy birthday, whatever. Follow up with them, and so that they're still special. Just remember something, that everyone starts somewhere. So there is a place you need to create a place if you don't have one already to record the opportunities for growth. Don't beat yourself up because you only have, a year, 1 month, years of experience. That drives me absolutely insane whenever I have a realtor that says, well, I've been in real estate for 30 years, so you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care that you've been in real estate for 30 years. Have you even sold anything in the past year? The market changes. Oh, I'm not saying to tell them that. I'm saying things change. You have to be willing to change with the times. We are no longer doing things in a book that gets passed along to offices. Things are done on the internet nowadays. Things are done through text message, by calls, through e-signature. Things change. So it does not matter how long you've been in real estate. If you provide the service and information that the buyer, client, seller wants, it's all that matters. So record some things that you would like to improve, and things that you could do differently, and try to set a 3-year goal. And like I just said, real estate has undergone significant changes in the past few years. Investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry, and they have. iBuyers are driving down commission prices, and some companies are moving towards eliminating the agent altogether. Oh, so scary. I don't know if y'all knew this, but that's actually one of the reasons why me and Katie decided to stop being just Pinnacle Realty and wanted to be the Pinnacle Group at KW Montgomery. We were both really scared of what is coming down the pipe of taking away small brokerages and going with the big ones that are going to last and that have the skills and the knowledge. So anyways, so who are your local competitors? Who are you competing with for clients and your commission? The reason I ask this is because what is their value proposition? Are they conveying that to them? Probably not. Oh, you've got a pulse? Yeah, let's go look at houses. No, if you come across as the professional and that you care and that you know what the heck you're doing, that's going to speak more loudly. So why would someone choose them over you? You need to be able to convey that. So remember, it's about your fiduciary, your knowledge, and your creating experiences. So your technology, you have an app that they can search on. You know, it's got the mortgage company, it's got the calculator, it's got the buyer and seller guides on there. It's got everything. Your website as well. They can actually search. You need to make sure they know this. They can search the whole United States, not just Alabama. So you can refer them to someone else as well. You can go to KW Connect and go to the Tech Enabled Agent and find technology that can strengthen your value proposition. Hi, I'm the Technology Ambassador, so if you need anything, also holler at me. And then you can also find things that you can create a better experience for your clients. So your activity of the day is remember your value proposition is unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you. It says what you're doing to earn your commission and hold you accountable to higher standards. So what you need to do is basically just create your value proposition. And then I wish we were in a class so we could actually role play your conversation. Does anyone have any ideas of some of the things you're going to say in your value proposition? Don't forget that KW has the Y4C2Ts, so that you could possibly even bring that into your conversation. Win-win or no deal, integrity first, communication. I forgot all of them, honestly. Trust, technology, success. Anyways, so you can bring those into your value proposition as well. Your value proposition isn't something that you just say. It's something that you feel and that you believe. That is a strong word that you need to probably put into your value proposition as well, is the word believe. I believe that people will really listen and perk up when you say that. Let's see. The continuous drive for knowledge and improvement is part of our 6 personality perspectives. Who cares? Okay. What qualifies as an excellent real estate experience? What services are you responsible for providing? And what allied resources can you leverage to improve your client experience? So things that are an example of that are staging, landscaping, cleaning, carpet cleaning, home inspecting, movers. That does not mean you're doing these yourself. It means you can relate to them. You know the top people that can help stage their house, can help with landscaping. You know a wonderful cleaner, carpet cleaners. Hey, have you thought about inspecting your house before we put it on the market? Just any of those things can help. So that is pretty much everything that I was going to go over with you guys. So the biggest thing that you want to do is think about what the buyers and sellers value and needs are and how you can set yourself apart. So I want you guys to really work on that. And once you've done that, I want you to start working on putting that out to everyone, telling them verbally, putting it on your social media. Did you know that you can create a social media banner? So when you go to, a good example is Canva. If you go to canva.com, they will ask you which template are you wanting to use, the Facebook post, Facebook banner, Twitter, Instagram, blah, blah, blah. So you can create one that has your value proposition in it as well as your contact information, and you can upload it to the background of your Facebook business page, your Google business page, your Twitter business page, all that sort of thing. They will all be the same. They will all be branded the same and will deliver your value proposition by someone just being on your page. So your homework is definitely to figure out what your value proposition is. And if you need to bounce off ideas off of each other, that's fine. You can also use me, Katie. Is there any questions that I can answer? All right. Well, okay, one other thing. So your value proposition needs to be your skills, your knowledge, your services, and your character, basically who you are. Put all of that in your value proposition. So if y'all don't have anything else, I guess we are done, and I hope y'all have a very wonderful day. I hope y'all all learned something today. All right, well, y'all have a good day. Thanks.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye.